Is HIDIVE dying? That is the question we are going to be somewhat trying to answer today as we go over the latest changes that HIDIVE have announced this past week. Now, if you are a HIDIVE member like myself, you might very well have in the last week or so gotten an email stating that HIDIVE will no longer be offered in your region. Now, I generally live across the world, oftentimes in Asia as well as in Europe, depending on various circumstances, and my region, or any region I really am in, have been affected by this change. The email that I got from HIDIVE, and that many others as well got that were affected, states, "We are constantly evaluating HIDIVE offerings and area of operation, and as such, HIDIVE will no longer be available in your area as of the 14th of December, and you will lose access to the library on the end of December." Now, HIDIVE has with this, of course, announced they are scaling back their operations. And they are doing so significantly. In an article from Anime News Network as well, we get some more information of why and what HIDIVE is doing here. They are effectively ending any and all services to any markets outside of North America and a few select other major markets. As is stated in this paragraph, HIDIVE are strategically focusing their operations on fast-growing global markets that represent approximately 98% of their current customer base. Now, I'm not sure if it has been completely confirmed by HIDIVE themselves that these are the specific countries that will not be exited from, but as far as I am aware, HIDIVE will only be available after the end of December in the US, Canada, UK, Ireland, and Australia. If that is the case, then HIDIVE is here then saying that 98% of their customer base are in these 5 regions. Now, if that is the case, and that is accurate, that means that basically their entire European market outside of the UK and Ireland, and their entire South American market and any other market outside of NA have been basically complete duds for them, representing under 2% of their customer base in total. If that is indeed accurate, then it is no wonder that they are scaling back and exiting these markets, even though they did just enter a lot of these markets last year. Now, I have heard many criticisms from people that have paid for HIDIVE that they are unhappy about the lack of subtitling for any language outside English on shows on their platform, as well as the lack of any dubs outside of English for the shows on their platform. And that has, of course, in the end, made many people from regions such as South America or Europe that might have more of a want to watch content or enjoy content in other languages than English, both in terms of subtitles and dubs, end up exiting and canceling their subscriptions just across this year, which would again also explain why so few of their customer base are in these regions they are now exiting. Now, does this mean that HIDIVE is dying? Does this mean that HIDIVE is on the verge of shutting down or bleeding money? Well, no, not necessarily. As stated, by their own words, the 5 regions they are staying in represent 98% of their customer base, so they are losing practically no customer base at all by exiting all these other regions that I assume have been deeply unprofitable for them, so they decided just to cut their losses before their own financial losses became too grave. Now, I do not have the specific numbers on how profitable or not HIDIVE is. I'm not sure anyone has those numbers right now. But this, I would say, is more of a positive note in terms of their own financial stability than anything negative when it comes to their future survival, as even though HIDIVE will not be offered in any of these regions outside of the main ones they are staying in, they are not really losing any income from it and may, from this, further invest and double down on their offerings in the specific 5 regions they are staying in, which can help them build up their customer base in those areas specifically more moving forward, which could, on the flip side, actually increase their income and earnings, at least for the foreseeable future until the markets are, let's say, more tapped out. And at that point, they might want to expand again if that is something they think is profitable and they have a better plan than they did this time around. HIDIVE has always been a small platform, right? HIDIVE has never been a big competitor. Back in the day, of course, you had Funimation and Crunchyroll. Those two always fought over the big titles and the big season shows. But after Funimation and Crunchyroll merged and Sony bought up Crunchyroll, of course, now only HIDIVE really remains as the last semi-competitor to the looming Crunchyroll monopoly on anime streaming in the West. This, of course, on top of as well the recent merge of Right Stuff Anime, with that site shutting down and being properly merged into the Crunchyroll store as well. Now, I can understand why many have reservations about the potential thought of a more or less complete monopoly on the anime sector in general in the West, being under Sony, being under Crunchyroll, but again, this is in no way guaranteed, and HIDIVE, from all the available information, does not seem like it is going to be shutting down anytime soon. You know, it is owned by AMC, I believe, and they have some decently deep pockets. Of course, nothing like Sony, but still, they have some cash in the back pocket there, at least for the time being. And HIDIVE, I don't think, is a loss-leading business. I do think they turn a profit still. But if HIDIVE wishes to remain somewhat relevant, and if they want to grow and not just be relegated to a few specific exclusives every season, then they need to really step up their offering and fix a lot of their issues. I mean, I have myself had multiple tech issues with HIDIVE. There was an entire month I was unable to log in, unable to watch the content I paid for, and I was just given the runaround by customer support. And in the end, the problem just solved itself. But again, it was really a horrible interaction, and they had no idea what to do and just kept giving me the loop around. And it felt really bad for me, and I was not able to, again, enjoy and watch what I actually was paying for. And many have had various tech issues with HIDIVE over the years. It's not like HIDIVE is an amazing platform with a flawless service, even though, you know, of course, no platform is perfect here. Crunchyroll has their own issues, but since they are so big, they generally are more fluid and have less big issues. I mean, if HIDIVE wants to actually stay around for a long time moving forward, though, I think it is a reasonable decision to pull out of these markets that apparently represent a really, really tiny portion of their actual customer base, and instead focusing on what actually brings in the money, what actually brings in the dough, and trying to improve that service first of all, and then maybe again looking to expansion sometime down the line, maybe in some years' time when their core base is really established much better. Another big issue, of course, with this is that many people have expressed worry that now that HIDIVE is pulling out of these regions, they will still have the basically global license for a lot of these anime, for example, Eminence in Shadow, Oshinoko, etc. And with that, they might just not offer that license to anyone else. And that people that want to watch anime legally, you know, and not go through other various channels, so to speak, will not be able to watch specific shows that they really want to watch because it is just not offered in their region anymore. HIDIVE has stated that they are looking to find ways to offer these titles that they will no longer be offering themselves in certain regions through other companies or intermediaries. We will see how that turns out, but at least it looks like HIDIVE is interested in actually getting, you know, some payment here from whatever company in whatever region that will then take care of the streaming for that show in those regions, let's say, be it Latin America or Central Europe, etc. Which is a somewhat positive sign, at least for the time being. We will see what they actually do with that, if anything. But of course, if they don't, and some licenses end up being unused outside of HIDIVE's own market where they are offering, yes, of course, you will be able to, no matter what, find these shows on non-legal streaming sites and other torrenting websites, right? But of course, if you want to watch things legally, you can still just use a VPN, right? Connect to the US, whatever, and still enjoy these things, even if you live outside the specified region that HIDIVE is going to be limiting their offerings to. So for real anime enjoyers that really want to enjoy things and are willing to go the extra mile to do so, I don't really see this being an issue for you at all, right? In the end, though, if HIDIVE wants to survive in the long run and not just have a slow death where they end up scaling back and limiting their services and cutting costs and whatever else, they need to do better. Like, they need to really build off of their successes like they have had with Eminence in Shadow, or especially Oshinoko, which exploded, right? They need to be able to steal a few really good, promising titles every season, and then get the subscriber growth from that, and then be able to maintain those subscribers for the long term by having good offerings in terms of season shows, as well as having a solid service, having multiple subtitle languages, maybe a couple extra dubs as well in the popular languages, and just generally having a very good, solid technical performance on their site and services so that people are incentivized to stay and are not annoyed by whatever bug or error or glitch that can ruin someone's enjoyment of a service and end up canceling as a result. Anyhow, in the end, that is overall what I think HIDIVE should be doing moving forward to try to grow their numbers, and if they do so, then they might slowly be able to afford bigger and bigger licenses, and over time, and I mean over time here, we're talking years and years, we're talking like a 5-10 year plan here. If they are able to slowly do this and slowly build up, they might eventually be able to rival Crunchyroll on a very minor scale. I mean, I don't foresee HIDIVE ever being comparatively big to Crunchyroll in any way, but they might be more of a competitor than what they are now if they walk that road and improve towards those specific things. All of this is to say, though, that no, I don't think HIDIVE is dying, at least not yet. While this is somewhat sad for the people in those regions that still use their services, even though apparently that is a very small number of people, it's still going to be far from impossible for you to enjoy the shows that are on there. For me, that would be Eminence in Shadow mainly, as I love that show. All we can hope for is that HIDIVE will continue to really improve and do what they can to become a better platform over time, and maybe in the very, very end, become a more stable, bigger player in the Western anime streaming market, as well as maybe also growing their Sentai platform with physical offerings, and having those two platforms build upon each other to both grow and become more of a player in the anime sphere. With all that being said, though, what do you think of this change in HIDIVE's offerings and everything else around it? Have you used HIDIVE? Have you liked it? Not liked it? Why not? Leave all your thoughts and comments down below. And of course, if you enjoyed this video or want to see more videos like this in the future regarding more news topics or discussion topics, and not just anime reactions, reviews, then please leave a like and subscribe to support me, my channel, and everything else I do here. Deeply appreciate that. With all that being said, hope you have a good day. Watch more anime, and if you want to watch another video from my channel here, click on this one right here to enjoy, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.